Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's iOS update. This time out, an app that recognizes your handwriting and converts it into music notation. Let's get started. Our app today is NotateMe from a company called Neuratron. This is a very interesting app that converts your handwriting on the screen into music notation. You can see I've got a score started here. I've drawn in some notes and it converts them right into music notation here at the top. We can scroll that down so you can see a little bit more easily. We can zoom that in. It'll do a variety of other things as well. We can play back our score. We could add instruments. You could do a full orchestral score in here. It's an amazing app that's extremely powerful. So let me show you how this works. Simply select a new score. You can decide what instrument you want. There are actually 128 different choices for instruments. We'll choose guitar here. And then we can simply draw on the screen to create notation. Now, as you're working, NotateMe actually analyzes your handwriting and becomes more and more accurate the more you use the app. And we can convert these to eighth notes. We can convert them to 16th notes. We can add rests. I can add an eighth note rest here. We can also add chords. So if we scroll over here a little bit, we change to our pen tool. We can draw in a whole note here, draw in a whole note here, and one down here. It'll show up as a chord. Now we can add dynamics markings by changing over to the entry tool here. We can tell it that we want this to be forte. Click OK. By clicking on that, we can now move it around wherever we like, so we can make our score look exactly the way we want. We could add a crescendo or a decrescendo by simply drawing them in. So you have all the articulations that you want. We can even add chord symbols. Let's jump up here. Click in this space. We have a variety of different chords we can choose from. It looks like we've got, let's call this a D add 9. We'll drop that in here. And once again, we can click on that, move it to wherever we like. And you can continue on like this. We could add more instruments to our staff. So we could add a bass guitar. It'll drop right in there. We now have a second staff available to us. We can add in notes. It will recognize those. If we've made a mistake, we have an erase tool. So we can clean that right up. You also have an undo and redo if you want to use those within. Now, when you completed your score, it's stored inside of NotateMe and you can offload those into iTunes on your computer. But you can also synchronize NotateMe with Dropbox and your scores will automatically show up as files inside your Dropbox folder. Let's go ahead and add some more bass notes back in here. We'll add a quarter note run here. And we'll start with a rest there and then we'll have a D here. Now when we've got our score the way that we like it, we can go back to the beginning and we can play back and hear our work. If we go up to the top, we can scroll down, choose our guitar track, and hear what's going on there. So you have audio feedback as well for what you're doing. Once you've completed your score, you can export it. We have three different choices. You can export as a MIDI file, which you can play back in any app, or send off to your computer and use it to play back in your sequencer. You can export as XML, which will allow you to open that file inside a notation program on your computer. So for example, you could export this in XML, open it up in Sibelius, and continue working on it there on your computer. We also have PDF option, so you can export as a PDF file, print it out, and use that score at your next gig. I'm finding NotateMe to be incredibly handy. When I'm practicing my guitar and I quickly need to notate a lick, this is an easy way to do it. If you want to put down a chord progression, very simple way to do it. Have an idea when you're traveling, you have your iPad or your iPhone with you. It's a quick way to jot down ideas and keep them around. And you can really work on sophisticated scores. You have so many options for all the articulations, dynamics, note styles, rests, all the arranging things you can do here. It's a very comprehensive program. Pretty amazing that it's running on an iPad. Now you can use NotateMe using your finger to draw on the screen. So for example, we can draw a whole note there, and that works fine depending on how large you have this. But I find that it does work better using a stylus. It just seems like you can see a little better what's going on as you're drawing those notes in. NotateMe is on the expensive side for an app. It comes in at $21.99, but there is a free version available. And in my opinion, even $21.99 is very affordable for an app that has this much power and capability. Thanks for joining me for this installment of Sweetwater's iOS Update. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more apps, more hardware accessories, and more tips on making music with your iOS devices. I'm Mitch Gallagher.